Hi, I'm Fred Fishkin, and we're back with another AI-generated deep dive podcast into the latest from Techstination. This is a creation of Google's Notebook LM. Perfect? Not always, but the issues and AI-created banter, beyond Techstination even, are worth a listen. So here we go.
All right, let's dive into some of the trends that are really shaping the tech world. And to do that, we're going to be using a website called Techstination. It's all about gadgets and gear.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, and their correspondent, Fred Fishkin, he does these really interesting reports,
Okay.
interviews, and trend analysis. So we're going to be focusing on content that they published between February the 3rd and February the 14th.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty narrow window. Anything interesting happen in tech during that time?
Oh, just a little bit. A lot, actually.
A lot, yeah.
So we're going to be pulling from their reports and their interviews sections.
Right.
And it should be pretty fascinating to see what kind of trends we can find in there.
Yeah, it's always fun to kind of take a snapshot in time and look back.
Exactly.
Yeah, and see what people were talking about and thinking about, especially when it comes to technology. Because, things move so quickly.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to just press pause for a second and see what was going on.
Absolutely. So speaking of things that move quickly, how about electric vehicles?
EVs, yeah.
EVs, yep. Techstination had a report on February 13th, and it was posing the question, is the transition to electric vehicles inevitable?
Big question.
Big question, right? And that got me thinking about, because this report came out on the 13th, but then back on February the 3rd, they had an interview with Mike Colias.
Okay.
He is a reporter for the Wall Street Journal,
Mm-hmm.
but he also, talk about being in the right place at the right time. He wrote a book
Oh, wow.
called Inevitable
Okay.
about the rise of EVs.
Well, that's perfect timing for him.
How perfect is that? He's got a book
Yeah.
called Inevitable, all about the rise of EVs, and then Techstination is asking, is the transition to electric vehicles inevitable?
Well, what was his take? What was his, why is it inevitable?
Yeah, so, what's striking is, and he kind of talked about this in the interview with Techstination, is it's not just about, electric vehicles being cool, right?
Sure.
Or even their environmental benefits.
Mhm.
He points to a convergence of factors, cheaper manufacturing, supportive government policy, and this is worldwide. It's not just, the US or Europe or whatever. It's worldwide. And consumers genuinely getting excited about the cars.
Interesting.
So it's not just one thing.
Yeah, it's not just one thing pushing them forward.
Right. It's this whole ecosystem that's developing around EVs.
Right, yeah.
Do you think that makes, do you think that makes it more likely they're going to be dominant?
It's certainly when you have that many factors all sort of pushing in the same direction.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I don't want to say unstoppable, but it's definitely something that you have to take seriously.
Yeah.
But, the report in Techstination does acknowledge that there are still roadblocks, right? Like charging infrastructure still needs work.
Sure.
And the upfront cost of EVs is still a barrier for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But Colias's argument for inevitability is that these are all solvable problems,
Right.
not fundamental flaws.
Okay.
So, he even compares it to like the early days of the internet. It was kind of messy. It was expensive, but there was this sense that it was going to change everything.
And look at us now, right?
Right. And look at us now. Yeah. We're living online.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, it's interesting to think about how those parallels might play out.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get too caught up in the future of transportation, let's shift gears to something that feels a little bit more ripped from science fiction.
Okay.
How about robots?
Robots. All right. Yeah. Love it.
Techstination had two reports that highlight how diverse the field of robotics is becoming.
Okay.
And the first one that caught my eye was from February 3rd. They were covering the Roborock Saros Z70. So that's a robot vacuum,
All right.
but with a twist.
Okay. There's always a twist. I love the twists.
This one has a robotic arm that can pick up objects.
What?
Yeah, so no more stepping over, your kid's stray socks.
The socks. Yeah. Actually, that's.
For us lazy humans, I can kind of see the appeal.
No, I was going to say, actually, robot vacuums are kind of amazing.
Yeah.
But that is the one thing that gets stuck on things.
Yeah, they do.
So I'm very intrigued by this.
Right.
My robot vacuum's great until it's not.
Exactly.
And then it's stuck under the couch. So this is very exciting.
Yeah. So while the Z70 is kind of tackling the mundane, there was this other report from February 11th, and this introduced Tombot. And what they're doing is they're creating robotic pets.
Robotic pets. Okay.
And these are designed to provide companionship and emotional support specifically for individuals with Alzheimer's.
Oh, wow.
So that's a whole other level of
Yeah.
robot integration.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. It makes you think, like, are we headed towards a world where robots are our helpers, our companions, maybe even our friends?
I mean, I think that that's a question that comes up again and again. Yeah. As robots become more sophisticated and we see them like being able to, do these things that we used to think only humans could do.
Right.
I think, it's definitely a question worth exploring. And I think that's, as these technologies develop, we really have to be very mindful of, their ethical and then societal implications.
Yeah. And that's a discussion we're definitely going to be having. But for now, let's move from robots to something a bit more personal.
Okay.
How about wearables?
Wearables, all right. I'm game.
Yeah, wearables are becoming this fascinating intersection of technology and personal well-being, and Techstination captured that perfectly. They had an interview on February the 13th with the creators of these new earbuds.
Okay.
They're called Soundcore Aero Clips.
Aero clips, okay.
But here's the thing. In a world where we're obsessed with these tiny little earbuds, these are clip-ons.
Clip-ons, interesting. So like they clip on the outside of your ear.
Yeah, it seems like such a step backward. Why would you go back to that? But, I mean, the interview revealed that it's all about providing superior audio quality
Okay.
and comfort, especially for people who find that in-ear buds are uncomfortable.
Oh, I see.
So sometimes innovation isn't about being most futuristic.
Right.
It's about solving real problems in creative ways.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, have we just gotten used to those tiny earbuds? Are
Yeah.
they actually the best solution for everybody? Or have we just gotten used to them?
Yeah, or is it just what we're used to? Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And speaking of questioning assumptions, there was this other interview that really got me thinking. This was on February 5th. It was with SOB Safe, and what they've done is they've developed a wearable that can detect alcohol consumption.
What, really?
Yeah, and their target market is workplace safety.
Okay.
So, preventing accidents,
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
keeping people safe. But I can also see potential downsides.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when it comes to like privacy, right?
Exactly. Like, where do we draw the line with technology monitoring our bodies?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge question that we need to be grappling with
Right.
as these technologies become more and more sophisticated.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a valid concern, and it like you said, it highlights the importance of not just being like, ooh, shiny new tech,
Right.
but really stopping and thinking, okay, what are the ethical implications of this? What are the potential, downsides as well as the benefits?
Right. It feels like for every cool gadget Techstination covers, there's this deeper conversation that's just waiting to be had
Yeah.
about its impact on our lives.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Speaking of impact, they also highlighted Apple Fitness Plus.
Okay.
This was from February 7th, and they were talking about how it's designed for motivation and fun at all levels of fitness.
Which is a great, I think, reminder that, wearables aren't just about tracking data or monitoring your behavior.
Right.
They can also be tools for positive change, for personal growth.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about how many people have been motivated to be more active
Right.
just by having a fitness tracker.
Yeah.
It's like it's a tangible example of technology actually improving our lives.
Yeah, it's like wearables are this bridge between our physical selves and the digital world.
Yeah.
And those lines are just constantly being blurred.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, which brings us to another fascinating area that Techstination touched on, which is the human element in tech.
The human element, yeah.
It's not all about gadgets and gizmos, right?
Right.
Techstination had two reports on February 6th and February 5th about a company called Human in Motion. And what they're doing is they're developing exoskeletons.
Okay.
So these are wearable robotic suits that can assist people with mobility impairments.
Wow.
And they interviewed the CEO, Siamak Arzumpour,
Okay.
and their director of lived experience, Chloe Angus.
Okay.
So I love that they have someone with lived experience in that role.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic.
Right. It speaks volumes.
It really does.
About their commitment to not just building cool tech,
Yeah.
but actually understanding the human impact.
Yeah.
And the interviews highlighted, the challenges and triumphs of creating these devices, not just from an engineering standpoint, but from the perspective of the people who are actually going to use them.
Right. The people who are actually going to be using them. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a powerful reminder that technology should be designed with people in mind, not just for the sake of innovation.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And to emphasize that point, Techstination actually published this other report on February 10th, and it was all about nostalgic search trends.
Nostalgic search trends. Like what were people searching for?
It's people are like yearning for simpler times,
Really?
even as we're surrounded by increasingly complex technology.
Interesting, yeah.
It's like we're caught in this push and pull, right?
Yeah.
We're excited by the possibilities of the future,
Yeah.
but we also kind of yearn for the comfort of the past. So
Right.
where does that leave us?
That's the question.
I think that's the question, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a question that we need to keep asking ourselves
Yeah.
as we move forward with technology. How do we balance the allure of the new technology
Yeah.
with this human need for connection,
Yeah.
for meaning,
Right.
for a sense of grounding?
Yeah. It feels like we're just scratching the surface of that conversation.
Yeah.
But for now, let's take a break. We'll come back for part 2 of our deep dive, and we'll explore even more fascinating trends from the world of Techstination.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Techstination.
I'm ready for more.
We've already covered so much ground,
Yeah.
from the rise of EVs to the potential of robots and that evolving landscape of wearables. But the world of tech never stands still.
It doesn't.
So let's keep exploring.
What's next on our tech journey?
Well, with all this exciting tech entering their lives, it's crucial to consider the security implications.
Oh, yeah.
And Techstination seems to be reflecting that concern.
Okay.
On February 14th, they reviewed the ThinkWare AR-TIA dashcam and highlighting its affordability and quality.
So dash cams are becoming so common these days.
Yeah, they are.
Is it just about capturing those like crazy driving moments?
Sure.
Or is there more to it?
Well, the review emphasized the AR's security features.
Okay.
Think protection against theft and vandalism even when you're not around.
Oh, okay.
It's almost like having a watchful eye on your car 20/47.
That's a great point. Security is becoming integrated into even the most unexpected devices.
It is.
But it also makes you think, with all of our connected gadgets and our online accounts, are we doing enough to protect ourselves?
That's a valid question. And while Techstination didn't have specific reports on broader cybersecurity trends during this period,
Okay.
their coverage offers some interesting insights.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that SO bar safe wearable we discussed earlier?
One that can detect alcohol consumption?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that one sparked a little bit of debate about privacy.
Exactly. While the focus was on workplace safety, the underlying technology, brings up those crucial questions about data security and privacy.
Yeah.
Who has access to that information? How is it being used? These concerns extend far beyond just wearables.
It feels like every new technology comes with this kind of shadow of potential risks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We want the benefits,
Sure.
but we also need to be aware of the vulnerabilities.
Precisely. And it's not just about protecting ourselves individually.
Right.
On February 12th, Techstination reported on how H&R Block is encouraging people to e-file their taxes.
Okay.
While this offers convenience, it also, highlights the importance of cybersecurity on a much larger scale.
Yeah, tax information is incredibly sensitive.
It is.
I mean, it's like a gold mine for hackers.
It underscores that cybersecurity is not just about protecting personal devices.
Right.
It's about safeguarding critical information and systems that affect us all.
Okay, so we've got personal security, workplace security, and even national security tied into this tech trend.
Yes.
That's a lot to consider.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Cybersecurity is an ever-evolving landscape with new threats emerging all the time. It's a conversation that needs to continue as technology continues to advance.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit daunting, but it's good to be aware of the challenges.
It is.
Speaking of challenges, let's move to a trend that's all about making our lives easier, the rise of smart homes.
Smart homes love it.
Yeah, so Techstination didn't have any specific reports that were dedicated to smart homes during this period, but their coverage subtly hints at how our living spaces are becoming increasingly interconnected.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm thinking back to that Roborock SARS Z70,
Oh, yeah.
the robot vacuum with the grabbing arm.
Right.
That's definitely a step towards a more automated home.
Precisely. And when we look at their interview on February 12th with the creators of the Brava oven, we see another aspect of the smart home's convenience and efficiency. This oven goes beyond just baking, incorporating safety, features smart cooking programs, even the ability to monitor your food remotely.
A smart oven, that sounds intriguing.
It is.
But it all makes me wonder, are we becoming too reliant on technology to manage our homes? What happens if the Wi-Fi goes down?
It's a valid point. There's something to be said for doing things the old-fashioned way, maintaining a sense of independence from technology, but the appeal of convenience and efficiency is undeniable.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that.
It's about finding that balance.
It feels like a lot of these tech trends are about finding that balance.
They are.
Embracing the benefits without losing sight of the potential downsides.
Yes.
Speaking of embracing benefits, let's talk about a trend that's all about giving us more options, the evolution of mobile devices.
Mobile devices. All right, let's do it.
Techstination covered some interesting developments in this area,
Okay.
including the arrival of Nomad's universal cable for Apple Watch on February 7th. It's a seemingly simple innovation offering compatibility with various Apple Watch models.
I see.
I'm all for anything that simplifies the tangled mess of cords and chargers.
Oh my gosh, yes.
We all seem to accumulate.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
The struggle is real.
It speaks to that ongoing quest for seamless integration and user-friendliness in the mobile space.
Yeah.
And on that same day, Techstination featured a very unique wrap-up of the week.
Okay.
It was actually created by Google's Notebook LM.
Notebook LM. What is that?
It's AI. So AI is summarizing tech news now.
Meta. Pretty meta.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty cool.
It highlights the growing role of artificial intelligence
For sure.
in how we consume information.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to see how AI is being used to personalize and enhance our digital experiences.
It is.
It makes you wonder, where does this lead? Will we be getting all of our news from AI in the future?
That's a question for another deep dive.
Another deep dive, right?
But it speaks to the rapid pace of technological advancements and the need for us to adapt to these changes.
Absolutely. Techstination also covered some tools that might help us do just that.
Oh, okay.
On February 6th, they interviewed the team behind Counterforce Health.
Okay.
This is an AI-powered tool, and it's designed to help people appeal health insurance denials.
Interesting. So it's like having a personal advocate in your pocket.
Exactly. It's empowering people to take control of their healthcare.
Love that.
And on the same day, they also featured It's a platform that's aimed at making video presentations and calls more engaging.
Okay.
Given how much time we all spend on video calls these days, I think that's a very welcome innovation.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have Zoom fatigue.
Yeah, we do.
So that sounds pretty cool.
And focuses on interactive features and dynamic visuals, just to kind of bring a little bit more life to those virtual meetings.
Right. Make it a little less boring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about finding ways to make technology work for us rather than the other way around.
Absolutely.
And speaking of making technology work for us, let's shift gears to a trend that's all about pushing boundaries, the world of virtual reality.
VR, right.
VR has been on the horizon for a while, but it feels like it's finally starting to gain some real momentum.
Yeah, I think so.
While Techstination didn't have any reports that were specifically dedicated to VR during this period, their coverage hints at its growing immigration into various aspects of our lives.
Right.
I'm thinking back to the Apple Fitness Plus platform that we talked about.
Yeah.
Imagine working out in a virtual environment.
Oh, wow.
It could make exercise so much more engaging.
It could. And actually, that's already happening.
Is it really?
Yeah, VR fitness apps are gaining popularity.
Oh, wow.
Offering immersive and fun workout experiences and Beyond Fitness VR is finding its way into education, healthcare, entertainment, even therapy.
It's like stepping into another world. The possibilities are endless.
They are endless.
But with those endless possibilities come some new challenges and questions.
Of course.
As VR becomes more realistic and immersive, how do we ensure as a responsible use? How do we protect our privacy, our mental well-being, even our sense of reality?
Big questions.
Those are big questions.
Yeah.
It feels like we're entering this whole new era, and we need to be prepared for the opportunities and the potential pitfalls.
And speaking of new eras, let's talk about a trend that's reshaping how we connect with information and with each other. The rise of the metaverse.
The metaverse, it's one of those buzzwords that everyone's talking about,
Yeah.
but it can feel a little bit elusive. What exactly is it?
It's a complex concept, but at its core, the metaverse is a persistent, shared virtual world.
Okay.
It's a space where people can interact, participate in experiences, and even create and trade digital assets.
So it's like the internet, but more immersive
Exactly.
and interactive.
Imagine attending virtual concerts, exploring digital museums, or even owning virtual real estate. The metaverse has the potential to change how we live, work, and play.
It sounds both exciting and a little bit overwhelming.
It does. While Techstination didn't have specific reports on the metaverse during this time, their coverage points to the growing interconnectedness of our digital and physical lives, which is a key element of the metaverse.
Yeah.
Remember that report on nostalgic search trends?
Yes, the one about people yearning for simpler times.
Right. It seems counterintuitive we're embracing these futuristic technologies, yet also seeking comfort in the past.
Yeah.
It suggests a desire for balance.
Okay.
As we venture into virtual worlds, we also crave the grounding influence of real-world experiences and human connections.
It's a fascinating interplay
It is.
between the virtual and the real.
Yes.
It makes me wonder, where do we go from here? What does the future hold for technology and its impact on our lives?
That's the question we'll continue exploring as we move into the final part of our Techstination deep dive.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Techstination.
It's been quite the journey.
It has. We've covered EVs, robots.
And so much more.
It's amazing how much is happening in such a short time. Looking back at this content from February 3rd to 14th, it really hits you that technology isn't just about gadgets anymore. It's woven into everything we do.
Absolutely. Like those exoskeletons we were talking about, helping people with mobility impairments. That's technology with a real human purpose.
Right, or those AI tools to help people navigate health insurance denials. There's so much potential for good.
Definitely. But then there's that other side, the data privacy concerns, the ethical questions. It's a lot to balance.
It is, which makes me wonder, with all this rapid evolution, what are you most excited about? Or maybe even a little worried about when you think about the future of tech?
Well, what really gets me excited is seeing how tech can tackle those big problems, climate change, improving access to education. Imagine what AI could do in those areas.
It's mind-blowing.
It is. But then there's the flip side, right? Job displacement as things get more automated. Or have you thought about how good deepfakes are getting? The potential for misinformation is scary.
It's like every step forward has this shadow side we have to be aware of.
Exactly. We have to be thoughtful, make sure these tools are serving humanity, not the other way around.
Which is why conversations like this are so important. We need to stay informed, stay curious. Hopefully, our listeners are walking away with a lot to think about.
I hope so. At the end of the day, it's not just about the devices, right? It's about how tech impacts our lives, our world.
Right.
We all have a part in shaping that.
So well said. And with that, we come to the end of our Techstination deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged in the conversation, because how technology shapes our world, well, that's up to all of us. CCSC.
There you are. Thanks for checking out this week's Techstination wrap-up generated by Notebook LM, an AI tool from Google. I'm the human involved here, Fred Fishkin.